Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Who Cares Anyway podcast. So, we're not exactly live, but it is Friday night, as you guys have been seeing with the premiere and whatnot. I'm your host, Chris Doman, and I really do hope to see when I do check the playback, because by the time this is going live, Nico and I will be about 2 sheets to the wind listening to Mark Ellis talking the Yuck Yucks up in New York. But, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of the China Sticks Army hanging out and having fun. But hopefully you guys are just having a great night. Everyone's being excellent to each other. You're all being awesome. But, of course, it's not just me here tonight, because we got a packed show. There's a lot of shit going down. There's a lot of shit that we still have to unpack from last week that, we sort of talked about on the show for all of 2 seconds last week, but now we're going to actually go in depth. We're going to really get into this and hammer out. And then on the second half of the show, we're talking with the guy who's managing the current Schmoedown singles champ and future Schmoedown Inner Geekdom champion, Kaiser. That's right. He'll be on the second half. So we know you'll enjoy that. So let's just start off introducing the panel for the first hour of the show, starting with my usual Case Cornelisa. Case, what's up, man? How have you been this lovely week?
Fuck this week. It's the morning shift. It's the worst out of 3. It is it's way too late. But you know what? It's always fun to be in the show. It's going to be fun to talk about some stuff while you guys are in New York and I'm just all by myself at home reacting to Stacey versus Riley. Yeah, that's it.
Fair enough. Nico, how have you been since we last saw you on the show?
College started this week, and while it is my last semester, I should point that out, provided everything goes right. But we didn't get much homework, but it's still kind of weighing on me mentally that, like, oh my God, this is my last semester. I got to make sure I stay on track here and not fuck up and fuck around. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do this whole song and dance again in the spring, and I really don't want to do that. I've been in school for too damn long. I need to move on and do other things with my life and start pursuing these dreams that I have.
Fair enough. These dreams that, surprisingly you haven't decided to just kill yet, like the rest of us sane people have, but that's fair.
Wow. Way to make it dark, man.
Come on, have you met me? If the Schmoedown reaction that we dropped yesterday is anything to go by, I must be having like a dark week or something, because,
Help us. Help us.
Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. But no, so, look, guys, this is going to be a fun one. Because, as I've said up top, there is so much shit to unpack. Now, here's the real question. So, obviously, this entire first half, there's a lot of other stuff going on in movie news, but there's really one topic that I think can last an entire hour, and that is D23.
Dude, that could last us a week of live streaming if that was allowed on YouTube.
Yeah, but, let's be fair here. I don't want to put us through that, and I don't want to put the fans through that. So let's ask a question here. What do we want to start with first? Do we want to start with Star Wars, or do we want to end with Star Wars?
Let's end.
Okay. So then let's start by breaking down the Marvel side of things. Nico, I would like you to do everybody here on the show and to the audience who's unfamiliar a favor. You're also doing me a favor by doing this.
I mean,
in case. Now, there was 3 new shows that were also announced outside of just a Comic-Con a few weeks back, and those 3 shows are She-Hulk, Moon Knight, and Miss Marvel. I am familiar with one of those characters. Please, if you could, give us a little background on everybody.
Okay, so I'm going to make a lot of Moon Knight fans pissed because I've heard summaries of what his backstory is, and I still get it confused from time to time. But basically, the best I can say is he's like a schizophrenic Egyptian Jewish version of Batman, who made a deal with the moon god of Egypt.
That sounds interesting.
And he like has a moon-shaped boomerang, a giant white costume, and he's nuts. But there's a lot of things that he says that is also true, but you wouldn't believe him because he's also nuts. And he, yeah, I told you I'm gonna make the Moon Knight fans pissed because I'm sorry, he was just never really a character that I gravitated towards. But people kept telling me Moon Knight, Moon Knight, Moon Knight, and I was just like meh.
So basically, it sounds like someone that I would be very much into.
Probably.
Okay.
I think I as well.
All right. Next, two characters that I am more familiar with. Let's start with Miss Marvel because Captain Marvel is still kind of fresh by a few months. So Miss Marvel is a Pakistani Muslim Jersey girl. She's in high school, so she's right around the age of Spider-Man. R.I.P. Why did you do this to us, Sony? So she, at least in the comics, she is an Inhuman, and whether or not they're going to go the route of that ABC show that didn't do so well, but basically,
You mean the one that no one liked?
Didn't do so well. It did fucking terrible.
But we're all aware. The sky is blue, the grass is green.
Water's wet.
So she went through the process of Teragenesis, and she developed elastic-based powers. Like she can stretch and grow her body into tremendous sizes. Sort of. But she's also a gigantic superhero nerd, which is interesting because it's kind of meta for the comic book world in which she lives in. So, like, she's written fan fiction about the Avengers in her personal free time. And at least in terms of the comics, her favorite character, her favorite superhero is Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. And so she kind of takes on the persona of Miss Marvel as a tribute to Captain Marvel. And at some point in time, she actually gets Carol's blessing to carry on that mantle. How they're going to tweak it, because we never heard Carol Danvers referred to as Miss Marvel in the movie, probably won't be a big tweak or anything, but like how they'll approach it is interesting. And also, we're dealing with a Miss Marvel in a post-Infinity Saga world. So was she affected by the blip at all? Was anyone in her family blipped away? What is her experience now in this world that we live in?
Okay. So if you had to give me like a tone to kind of expect from this show, it would be sort of more drama based, sort of more like Far From Home, Homecoming, like that sort of that side of MCU.
It will be probably a coming of age series with little bits related to her status as she has immigrant parents. So like that they'll maybe touch on that as well, and dealing with, you know, being different as a human, but now also having inhuman powers. So she's different in a lot of ways from the people she lives around. And now we get to my favorite character of the three here, Jennifer Walters, a.k.a. She-Hulk. Now, again, I got to go with the comic stuff because we don't really have a synopsis for the TV series yet. But basically, right. Jennifer Walters is the cousin of Bruce Banner. She is a lawyer by trade, and apparently one day while she was protecting a witness, she got shot by a mobster. And Bruce Banner decided to save her life by injecting his blood into hers as part of a transfusion. Now, of course, this was after Bruce had become the Hulk, so his blood has gamma rays in it. And so when he injects her with the blood, she essentially becomes She-Hulk. Now, the difference between her and her cousin is that She-Hulk doesn't start out completely dumb in her Hulkish form. Like, she actually retains her intelligence, and she actually has done lawyering stuff while in her Hulk form. And also, she's one of the first Marvel characters to actually break the fourth wall in comics. And she's actually, professional magician Misty Lee actually voiced her in the Lego Marvel Superheroes video game, where she breaks the fourth wall a lot and addresses the actual game player. So I feel like this is where they can test the waters of what they can do at Deadpool, but scaled back for a more family-friendly audience, if they, or at least not a rated R audience. Yeah. And again, that's why I brought up last week, I want to see Rashida Jones as this character, because again, you got to look back at Rashida Jones' background in The Office and in Parks and Recreation. So she's used to addressing the audience that's watching her at home. And that's essentially what She-Hulk is, but more of a badass. Like, she will beat the ever-loving snot out of you, and then she will defend you in court. So, like, it's just a multi-layered character. She's actually been part of the Fantastic Four a couple times. She led the A-Force. I think she even led, and she may have led a couple other Avengers teams as well. So she is very underrated, and I'm very glad that she's finally getting her spotlight. And maybe they were just waiting for the right time to introduce her. And what better time to introduce her than in a post-Infinity Saga MCU, where her cousin has become Professor Hulk. So, like, he has the intelligence and the body as well. So maybe he's like, I'm in no condition anymore to do this because of my arm. I need someone to take my place. I choose you, and then something happens that leads to basically that falling into her lap. So I'm excited for this particular series most of all.
Yep. No. Seriously. Okay. The way you just described it last little bit. Yeah. Case and I are on the same page. She-Hulk. I choose you.
Especially after that Schmoedown.
Oh my God, Bibbs, just do that for the rest of your career. Just be Ash Ketchum. Gotta catch them all. But yeah.
But I should also say, She-Hulk is very Bibiani-ish, so that should draw you in even more.
Okay. So then, okay.
Baby character.
So then, basically, Case. Yeah. Basically, picture in your head Rashida Jones in green makeup. They'll
CGI her.
You shush. I want to pretend they'll do it for real.
It's gonna be CGI.
It'll be CGI. Fine. Then just picture that, but Rashida Jones and a sort of a Bibiani meets family-friendly Deadpool attitude. I'm actually in.
Look, I have a little bit of a history with having a crush on green women.
This is true. So never mind. Yeah, okay. Never mind. You are. Case is fully cocked and ready to go, ladies and gents.
Oh, him watching this show with Arena is going to be so awkward.
Hey, we watched Rebels together. We got through that. That's fair. No, but it sounds interesting. It sounds like it could be something that I would want to watch. Miss Marvel less so. But yeah, She-Hulk sounds interesting. Also because, like, I absolutely adore Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk in the MCU. And I really think that based off of that, they could continue something really good. Of course, given the right casting and stuff. But yeah, there's potential.
And you know what? And I will stick up for Miss Marvel on one regard. I heard a rumor that they're looking to basically cast for an older version of Lashana Lynch's daughter in Captain Marvel and have her be Miss Marvel. Like, I don't know. Somebody correct me when I do check the chat again, or whatever.
Different character, I think.
But But I heard, again, this is all just rumors of what I've heard.
Here's the issue here is that a lot of characters in the comics have taken on the mantle of Miss Marvel / Captain Marvel in their own unique ways. It's just a matter of what were they named after they decided to drop the Miss Marvel title. But in regards to this Miss Marvel is a Pakistani Jersey girl.
But that's the comic origin, correct?
Yes, and I don't think they're going to want to stray away from that specific casting choice.
I'm not saying that they'll want to either, but I'm just saying. Again, I'm going off a rumor that I heard. So just bear with me on that. And then Moon Knight, we're overdue for a psychopathic hero, one that I like. Venom. What? Anyway. But yeah, okay, so, and that's just one of the things that, like, there's so many things to unpack just even from that information. And now, to my knowledge, they're doing literally all 3 of those shows as separate stories with, like, no crossover planned at the moment, right?
There are plans for these characters to cross over into the movies, but whether these characters will cross over in the first seasons of their shows, I doubt it, because it's their individual stories, and therefore they deserve the time to have their stories told on their own first. But if they get second seasons, and of course with the movies they'll be coming after, we'll see what happens.
Okay, fair enough. Case, any thoughts before we move on to the next little piece?
Nico mentioned the Lego Marvel Superheroes game from 2013, which is a lot of fun. I've played that, and based off of that, I know a little bit about some of these characters. And Moon Knight, like when I saw him in the game, I was like, "What is this character?" And I looked him up, and I was like, "That's crazy. That's interesting. It would be insane." And I remember that Robert Barry Burnett was losing his mind on Heroes a couple of years ago when he had the idea of Moon Knight appearing in the MCU. So it seems like that's going to be interesting. And it sounds crazy, but it sounds good. So yeah, I'm also interested in that. That's all.
Okay. And Nico, any other pieces you want to throw in there?
It's been a long time coming for these 3 particular characters to get their spotlight. A lot of people wondered if Moon Knight was going to find himself in the Netflix Marvel shows, but obviously whether or not they're canon anymore is up in the air. So, and we're going to talk about The Mandalorian later on, but obviously we saw the trailer, we reacted to it with Chandru, so we know that Disney Plus is not afraid to go adultish if they need to, and I feel like Moon Knight is is one of those characters where you can go a little more adultish with it.
Jeez, Nico, way to choke on your words there. Heyo. As we move on to... See, get it? It's a blowjob joke. Moving on to the next piece of Marvel news.
Rails, us.
All right. Move on to the next piece of news, where the only other things that we really got from the Marvel side is a little sneak peek that, unfortunately, I personally haven't seen, of Marvel's What If, which is the animated series of them basically doing what if stories in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, including stuff like Captain Britain, where instead of Captain America, Peggy takes the serum and she gets to go kick Nazi ass. I want to see that. Or Bucky versus zombies. I don't know how that's going to work, but you know what? I'm down for that because that sounds fun.
We're in for a good time with this series.
Yes, we are. I'm very much excited for that.
And if you just want me to summarize everything else that happened in regards to the Marvel side.
Please do.
Okay, so basically, Wyatt Russell, who is Kurt Russell's son, he has been confirmed to be playing the character of John Walker, known in the comics as U.S. Agent. He'll be playing that role in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So be excited for that. We got they got a trailer for Black Widow, the people that were in D23, and they got to see a lot of new costumes for the character of Natasha Romanoff. And we got to see the poster. That was a public thing. And you get sort of the first glimpse of what all these new characters will look like, including David Arbor as Red Guardian, which is basically Russia's Captain America. So that's going to be fun. And we got a look at the Eternals, and also Kit Harington is playing Black Knight in that movie, apparently. That's a non-Eternal character, so I don't know how they're going to fit that in, but I'm curious to see how they do it.
I was going to say, even in non-Game of Thrones roles, he's still a bastard that nobody wants.
Yeah, pretty much. And finally, we got confirmation that Black Panther 2 is coming in a couple of years. And we didn't get any plot details, but I'll just say this.
Wait, we already had that confirmation. It was just now the release date is confirmed.
Yes, now we have a release date. And we don't really know what the plot details are, but I'll just say go back to the after the 5 years later scene in Endgame where they're having that phone call and they mention an earthquake underneath the ocean. I think we're getting Atlantis.
The Underminer.
I think we're getting Atlantis and Namor.
Wait. So you're telling me that we're going to have Atlantis in 2 different comic book franchises? That's...
It's one of those things. And believe it or not, I think Namor came before Aquaman did.
Okay. I do want to say that I have strong doubts of it taking place during a time that Black Panther wasn't there. Because, it's called Black Panther 2. He was snapped.
I know he was snapped, but that earthquake under the ocean happened while he was away, and then they came back just a few days later. So my guess is there's going to be some fallout. And again, and Namor and Black Panther have been rivals in the comics for a very long time, and they even teased Atlantis in the map scene in Iron Man 2. So this has been a long time coming.
Wow, I don't remember that. But refresh me, aren't they also setting up, isn't Namor Submariner?
Yes, Namor is the Submariner.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, so then there's all those fun shenanigans. I'm kind of surprised we actually went that long on it. Jesus, I guess we had a lot to say. But, guys, let's stop burying the lead here. Let's get into some of the fun shit. Starting with the most disappointing fucking news that I've gotten all day, which is that I have to wait until February for Clone Wars Season 7? Are you kidding me? I'm going to have to call Jen Sturger Jess again. I don't want to do that because I hated myself after that.
But it makes sense because...
It makes sense.
Because some of the other shows that we're going to talk about in a little bit, I believe The Mandalorian is going to be released weekly as opposed to all episodes in one day because they want to keep the buzz going. They want to keep the buzz going the same way Game of Thrones did. And, once you finish season 1 of The Mandalorian and once you get through The Rise of Skywalker, you're going to need something to wet your whistle afterwards. So 2 months later, here's Clone Wars. Did I say 2 years? I meant 2 months.
No, you said 2 months. But Nico, you forgot about you forgot the reason that you're on this channel in the first place.
Oh yeah, Resistance. They didn't mention it. They didn't mention anything about Resistance on the panel. So
and that's fair. But to be honest, I want to talk about that more so because obviously we all have a much deeper connection to that particular show because we all fucking love it. But that, and plus something I realized, we actually haven't talked about it really. Not even in private conversations. We haven't really talked about the season 2 trailer because did we do a reaction for it? No. But let's get into this then for a bit. Let's talk about season 2, the final season of Resistance. Disney. You're breaking my heart!
Jesus.
Because that trailer was fucking awesome. And never mind the Kylo reveal at the end. Never mind that, because I'm just more excited to see, where are they going to go now that the Colossus is off of Castellon? I'm curious to see, is anyone actually going to kick the bucket before the end of this show?
Bucket. Get it.
And I want to know who of the Colossus crew is going to be helping the Resistance in Rise of Skywalker. And I still have to wait 2 more weeks for that? Because, I'm not waiting enough for a damn great show as this next few months. What the hell? But no, Case, talk to me about Resistance. What were your thoughts on the trailer, and what are you looking forward to in season 2?
I thought it was a. You guys might hate me for this. I thought it was a very average Star Wars animated type show trailer, because every single time that they drop a trailer for these animated shows, it's a lot like chop, 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 chop. Look. It was a lot of that. There's no story. I don't know anything about what's going to happen. And I actually kind of would have preferred it if we got a little bit more played out scenes with dialogue, with a little bit of a hint of what is going to happen. Because all I know is shock, cool things, Kylo Ren, cool things. Like, okay, I get it. Look, I'm still excited for season 2. I'm still going to see it, and I'm still going to love it probably. Because I love the first season, and I think that it has a lot of potential doing things right in the second season. It's just that trailer was just so very much Star Wars animated trailer. And the thing with the Kylo Ren reveal at the end, it was like, oh yeah, Kylo Ren. Is anyone surprised? We already saw Hux, we already saw Phasma, and Kylo Ren was just a matter of time before they got him. But I'm of course looking forward to the show because I love the characters, and as you say, I really wonder who's going to die, who's going to survive, who's going to join the Resistance for the remainder of the time that we're going to see them. Because I don't know what will happen after Rise of Skywalker, but considering Rise of Skywalker will be the last movie for several characters. Yeah, the question is who will join. Will Cass officially join? Join up with Poe? I don't know. Would be cool. Is our ship going to be a thing? I mean, it's already a thing, but how much of a thing will it be in this season? It would be nice to see more of that. And of course, the big question: how will Tam sabotage her old friend? Because she went full on to the First Order, and I don't know what she'll do. But there were a couple of moments in that trailer where they showed that Tam is actually going to hop into a TIE fighter and fight the Resistance head on. So she's gonna face her friends at one point, and it would be so dark, but it would be so cool if she is flying behind Yeager, trying to catch him, and she is forced to kill him. It would be so dark, but it would be. I think it would be really cool. So yeah, look, of course, I'm looking forward so much to this to the second season. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
And you know what? You're not entirely wrong, because plus, let's face facts. We've been kind of spoiled by how great so many of the animated series trailers have been that they can't always be home runs. But this one, I think, was still solid. It's just not as strong as the other ones.
Well, to be fair, also the thing is, I have only really started to follow, to watch the Rebels trailers since they dropped the trailer for
the mid-season 2.
Yeah, mid-season 2, because of course it had the big reveal of Mullis coming back and that kind of stuff. And while that reveal is really cool, and we didn't know that at the time, that's mostly why that one stuck out to me. It's still a trailer that is like, shot, this is cool, you gotta see this. And it's essentially every trailer. The thing that Rebels had is that we cared so much about the characters and what will happen, and of course reveals for big characters, because they got Maul, they got Thrawn, they got the Emperor. If you get all those, it's like big characters. With Kylo Ren was really the only one that you could reveal, but everyone kind of knew that. So yeah, there's a difference. Why this one didn't do it as much for me.
Fair enough. Sorry, Nico. Please.
Sorry.
Maybe it's just because I'm in a fog today, and maybe it's just because I only saw the trailer once, and it's been several days, if not a full week or so, since I saw it. But other than Tam trying to prove her loyalty to the First Order, I'm kind of struggling to piece together what happened in the trailer. So, yeah, I guess I'm proving Case's point that it wasn't the best trailer if it wasn't like memorable or made me want to watch it more than once. So I'll say this: we've seen Kylo Ren in this, so I feel like I know what's going to happen at the mid-season finale, and that's that we're going to see our Resistance crew answering General Leia's call to meet up with what's left of the Resistance as it becomes the new rebellion, wherever they rendezvous off to after the fade to black from The Last Jedi. And, I made this prediction when we did our final episode for Season 1 of Viva la Resistance, because I mentioned that the Battlefront 2 video game story mode had Zay Versio joining up, or rather getting the call from General Leia to join up with the Resistance after her mother had been killed. And then you look at the still debatable as to whether or not it's canon, so I'll just say canon adjacent Lego All-Star series, which is the spin-off to the Freemaker Adventures that follows Moxie Freemaker, the daughter of one of them. She gets stranded on a planet, and then General Leia gives her a call saying, "We need reinforcements. Can you join us?" So I feel like once we hit the mid-season premiere, probably at the start of 2020, I feel like we're going to see the cast and crew from all three of these particular properties meeting together in the second half of the season 2 of Resistance, and we're going to fill in some of the gaps that are going to take place in between what happened after The Last Jedi and what happened before The Rise of Skywalker, provided there is a time jump.
Yeah.
Well, I assume so. It's probably going to be the same as what they did with Rogue One and Rebels, where Rebels was kind of holding back on showing more stuff connected to Rogue One before Rogue One came out, and the instant Rogue One comes out, the first episode after, we get Saw Gerrera, and we get more into the Death Star and stuff like that.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm at this point, I'm just excited to see where this story wraps up, because as I've said before, and I'll say it again, I'm just fucking bummed. I'm just bummed it's only 2 seasons. Because assuming that season 2 can be even better than season 1, then yes, I think I'll have an argument that it will go down as the best animated Star Wars show to date. Even over the 2003 Clone Wars, which is high fucking praise coming from me. But we'll just have to see now. So there's still roughly 3 things left to get into in terms of Star Wars. Now, The Mandalorian, we kind of got into on our reaction, but were there any other things going back that you guys might have noticed you wanted to bring up real quick?
Did I mention on the reaction that they sawed a door off, and the way they lasered the door off, it was in the shape of a slice of bread? So I'm just thinking, like, this is an homage to Chef, which is a Jon Favreau movie.
It's a great movie. And, yeah.
I didn't notice it the first time I saw the trailer, but then one of you guys pointed out and then I went back to see the trailer, where someone gets decapitated by a door. That's pretty awesome.
Yep, that happens.
Yeah, if there's
So-
any way to get killed by a bounty hunter, I think that's the preferred way to go. That way, you don't give the bounty hunter actual pleasure of actually killing you. But yeah, it could be worse. Yeah, and obviously we're all looking forward to it. Yes, we will be doing every recap video series, and it's gonna be great. Can't wait for it. But with that said, let's hit big item number 1. Now, Case and I did a little reaction video for this already, but we need to talk more about it. We need to get more in depth on the fucking Rise of Skywalker trailer. So let's talk about it.
I'm just gonna pull it up.
What?
C-3PO looks like he's been smoking some weed.
Yes, he does.
Kind of.
Yes, he does. That's fun.
I think it's the kind of weed that geeks and gamers have been smoking. Hey-oh!
Oh Lord.
I went there.
So okay, yeah, you have this opening. Okay, to be fair, I skipped the first 1 minute 10 because it's all of the older movies.
Mhm.
It opens with that shot of them at, I don't know what it is. It's like a market or something.
Something like that, yeah.
But it's Poe, Rey, Finn, and Chewie at the some kind of market. I don't know exactly what it is. It looks very colorful. I don't know what they're doing there, but it looks interesting. Looks like by the way, 3PO is there as well. Looks like an interesting location. Yeah, there's that. Then you have a whole lot of Rebel ships coming in, and I see B-wings, and I see a Corellian Corvette type fighter. I see what is not the Millennium Falcon, but some kind of a freighter. I don't know what that is. I see A-wing, Y-wing. Actually, like all these type of ships are from the old Rebellion days, not from the current era. Because in the current era, we've only seen the X-wings, and I'm not sure if these X-wings are like the are the original X-wings. But the thing is, I think. I hate to say it, but I do think that time travel might be an element in this movie.
I hope not.
And it's gonna. Okay. And
I'm not quite sure because I feel like we've heard it mentioned from JJ that this is going to sort of wrap up all 9 movies.
Yeah.
This is going to be the bow that wraps up the present that is the Skywalker saga. And so, I don't think it has to do with time travel, but I feel like the ships maybe they're going back to a last resort. Maybe there's an old ship garage somewhere that Leia had prepared in case something like this would happen. And so, they're resorting back to what's left over to make the most of it.
That's the thing. That's the Rebel side of ships. But they didn't get that enormous shot of all the Star Destroyers, and those are Imperial Star Destroyers from the original trilogy, not the new Star Destroyer. So I'm wondering, what is that? Where is it coming from? What is it going to do? It looks so cool, though.
I mean, that shot looks amazing, but it's like there's 3 options. There's 3 options here. It's either time travel, or there's a third faction involved. And that the Empire went back to hiding, rebuilt, did their spiel, and they're back stronger than ever.
Actually, that's kind of what it is. That could very well happen because that's what kind of happened in the Aftermath movies. Books, I mean.
Yeah.
In the last Aftermath book, the last remnant of the Empire goes to the unknown regions which have been, of course, mapped out not by Thrawn, but by his accomplice Eli Vanto. Now, I haven't read Thrawn Treason yet, but at least in the first Thrawn book, Thrawn has a very good connection with Eli Vanto, and he sends Eli to the Chiss Ascendancy, and they're going to figure out what to do with the unknown regions. And that's where the remnant of the Empire goes at the end of the last Aftermath book.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up, because to me, that's option number 3.
Okay.
The Chiss.
Yes.
Could this be Thrawn's big revenge plan? Because we know Thrawn is much like his books. He's slow, methodical, and patient, and he always waits for the right moment to strike. And this could possibly be he's been biding his time in the background, just building up his armies and just getting ready for this one moment in time to finally strike back.
I think Thrawn is dead by this time, but the Chiss are there, and Eli, he should be alive by this point.
But this is assuming that Thrawn died at the end of Rebels.
Oh, he didn't die at the end of Rebels, but somewhere in between the Rise of Skywalker and the end of Rebels. I think we'll explore that more in some other type of media.
Probably.
Media.
And again, I haven't read Treason, so I have no idea. But, and then, of course, you have some really cool shots like I said, 3PO with the glowing red eyes, and then you have what looks like another Death Star attack, though I swear to God, it fucking better not be another Death Star, or else I'm going to be mad.
It looks like it's just a red beam destroying something on a planet. I don't know if that's Death Star or Starkiller or whatever.
I mean, we'll find out, obviously. And then we have Rey with a remote, and she's actually learning how to use the saber throw technique, which is in all the Star Wars games, but literally we've seen it once in the movies, and that was when Vader used it on Luke.
Well, also Yoda used it on a clone trooper.
Touche. Never mind. We've seen it twice.
Oh, yeah. Also, very interesting about this shot. Rey is using Luke's blue lightsaber, which is destroyed at the end of The Last Jedi, so it might be a flashback.
No, because she rebuilt it.
I'm also convinced that she rebuilt it, because remember, we saw the same lightsaber in the first trailer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we were told up front that she had rebuilt it by it was JJ.
Well, actually, it was both JJ and Daisy. So, I mean, I'll take the word for it. And then of course we got a shot of Kylo, smoldering and walking and carrying his lightsaber. Now, then we have that fight on the water. Awesome, cool. But then we have the big fuck everyone shot. So let's get into this. Let's get into this for real. Over under 20% chance that what we saw in the trailer was a Force vision.
Oh, way over. Oh, it's a vision, or there's a very good chance that it is a vision. That's not real. Rey, the Rey we know would not do that, and I don't think there's any room to do that in this last movie.
Nico?
As much as I don't want to subscribe to this theory, could be a clone. Either it's a vision, it's a clone, or they could be doing wasn't there a storyline in the EU where Luke went full dark side to get the upper hand on it?
In Dark Empire, he actually does give himself to the dark side of the Force, and so that way he can actually learn to master it and overcome it and let it go. But Rey, again, we don't have that kind of time for that sort of storytelling. Unless you make this movie 5 hours long. We don't have the time for it, unfortunately.
Oh, we know John Williams is apparently written like 130 minutes worth of new music.
That's
So
that's only 210. That's a typical Star Wars movie.
new music. So maybe maybe that's excluding any
Oh.
old music that was already in there.
No. He. There has been a report that he is going to use all the old music in like in new ways in themes, but it's going to be an homage to all the music of all the other movies. And
Plus, to correctly report on that thing you're trying to quote here, so his brother Don Williams basically said that John was working on 135 minutes of a combination of new music and reworkings of old themes. And that's where everyone got the idea of, oh, the movie's going to be 215 or 220 or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and with that, of course, a whole lot of people were like, "Oh, so we're gonna hear Duel of the Fates and Across the Stars and Battle of the Heroes." I'm like, maybe not in the way that you think. It would be cool to hear but it's kind of difficult to incorporate that type of music in these new movies. It would be cool though if he could successfully do that.
Yes.
But
I
but
want that
don't
very much.
but don't full on run with that because it very well might not happen.
It very well might not, and it would be kind of, well, frankly, irresponsible if any of us were to be like, oh, well, this is what you all should think, because look, guys, what's the thing I've always told you? Think for your fucking selves. But that said, this I really do think this movie is actually going to not just tie the sequel trilogy together. I think it's going to tie all 9 movies together, and I think this movie will finally undo the damage that, The Last Jedi caused. Notice the quotation marks. And I think we can all finally just go back to loving Star Wars like everybody can. After this movie, I think this movie, like, from what we've seen so far, I actually have hope.
But Chris, it's still Disney, and they're the worst, and they've ruined Star Wars, and they're gonna ruin it with this movie again.
Oh, go get laid, will you? All right.
He can't. His girlfriend's in a different country.
Yeah, that's an issue.
At least you have a girlfriend, sir.
That's true. No, but there will be haters. There will be so many haters. I don't care about that. Despite the stupid fanboy hate, stupid fanboy haters who just like to hate on all the new stuff. This movie is going to be a huge success. A lot of people are looking forward to this one, as am I. I'm going to see it opening day in IMAX. I'm gonna take a day off work, travel to either Amsterdam or The Hague to make sure that I can see it in IMAX, which is at least a 2-hour train ride. But God fucking damn it, I'm gonna get there because I need this. I need this movie.
And and here, Nico, what are you gonna do opening night for Rise of Skywalker? Real fast, go.
What night is it opening again?
I don't care. Just what are you gonna do when you go see it opening night? Are you just gonna go see it?
I'm gonna sit down in a chair with popcorn in my hand and watch it anxiously, and then go to my car and not turn it on for several minutes after finally having seen it.
See, I guess I'm the only, well, I mean, so I guess I'm gonna be more on Case's side, where just like I did with Force Awakens, I'm gonna actually there's a place called the Mall of America. It's about 45 minutes from where I live, and they have a great movie theater there, which, wow, good God, they've done some renovations on it since I last saw a flick there. But I'm going to take my folks there, and I'm going to get us a room at the Radisson Blu, and it's going to feel like our own, mini premiere. Because, of course, I'm going to dress fucking nice. It's Star Wars. I've been in love with this shit for 20 fucking years. Yeah, I'm going to look good for it. But in addition to that, and I'm gonna spend it with the people that I care about the most in this world. My parents.
Aww.
Yeah.
Oh.
Aww. But that said, let's get to one last story, and then we are gonna cut to break, and then we will take you guys on a magical little journey of craziness and much swearing. Watch out, Kaiser's got a mouth on him because I told him he could swear, so he swore a lot. But before we get to that, Nico, we saw this news break live last Friday.
Yes, we did. And it's a
doozy. And I didn't think it would actually happen. Like, yes, I was waiting for when we could finally get the announcement that Ewan was coming back to Star Wars as Obi-Wan Kenobi. But for the longest time, I thought it was never going to happen. Because, Disney doesn't want anything to do with the prequels. They hate the prequels. Because, the fans don't like prequels. Yeah, the prequels are dumb and they're... And yet, the only thing that would have made Friday's announcement even better is if Ewan had just said 2 words. Hello there.
Well,
Obi-Wan Kenobi series announced, baby. Woo!
We didn't get those exact words, but you could tell by the look on Ewan's face that he had been waiting for this moment for years. And there was a chance that it could have honestly happened a while ago, if not for the struggles that Lucasfilm had with Rogue One and Solo. It kind of scared them and spooked them away from trying anthology stuff for a little while. And so they took their time, they waited a little bit longer, and they got their bearings right, saw what Favreau was doing with The Mandalorian, obviously loved it, and now here we are. Ewan's finally coming back. He finally got to say, I feel like he's been holding it in for the longest time because reporters just kept asking him, are you playing Obi-Wan? Are you playing Obi-Wan? Are you playing Obi-Wan? And he definitely knew that there were plans in place, but he couldn't say anything because those plans kept falling through, at least in terms of the timing. And now here was his moment. He was like, sweet relief. I can finally be honest and open about this. And, he's aged enough that they don't really have to do much makeup with him to show the kind of wear and tear that the Tatooine environment will have on a person. So he's excited. We're excited. It's going to be a fun time.
Case, thoughts on Master Kenobi coming back? And I know that out of the 3 of us, you're the least excited.
I have a question. Do I need to make my point again, or is it clear why I don't want it?
I don't remember what the point was.
I know exactly your reason, but for the sake of the audience and for Nico,
Obi-Wan Kenobi as a character has 282 credits in canon media. That includes almost all of the Clone Wars TV show. He made an appearance in Rebels. He is, of course, one of the main characters in all 3 prequels. He is in all 3 original movies. He makes a cameo in The Force Awakens. He has a standalone comic run limited series, Obi-Wan and Anakin, and he appears in the Star Wars main story already on Tatooine, seeing the stories of Obi-Wan Kenobi happening.
Covering 2 days of time.
No, not 2 days. It's a lot more than that. But
like
whatever.
2 weeks.
It covers essentially what Obi-Wan is doing on Tatooine. So we already know what he is doing on Tatooine. And we have actually seen almost the end of that with him facing Maul and killing Maul in Rebels. He also had a Legends standalone book, I know. He had probably also a lot of appearances in Legends books and comics, and he is extremely, insanely overexposed as a character in Star Wars. Now, I know the reason, and this is really literally the only reason that everyone is freaking out about this, because Ewan McGregor is able to still portray the character. That is really the only reason that everyone wants him back, because yes, Ewan McGregor is really good as him in the prequels. That's one of the things that a lot of people say that is very good about the prequels, despite people either not liking the prequels or liking the prequels a lot. They say that Obi-Wan Kenobi is the standout. Now, a lot of people want to see the stuff that they already covered in the comics, already covered in Rebels, again in this show, because, well, apparently this show is going to expose it to the people who don't want to read the comics and don't watch Rebels. I don't get it though, because as a fan, as a canon junkie myself, I want to be able to explore all of canon and not encounter the same thing twice, unless of course if I'm reading the novelization of a movie, in which case yes, I will encounter the same things. But I already know that with a novelization, and novelization usually expands on it, which this TV show might do. But and look, it's cool that Ewan is coming back for the role. That's really the only thing that I can get out of this. That I'm like, okay, I want to see how they do that. Other than that, the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi is so insanely overexposed that I'm just done with him, and that's my reason. And yes, call me wrong, hate me, or whatever. I don't care. I don't want it. I've never wanted it. I know I'm the odd one out in that regard, because everyone does want it.
Amazing. Every word you said there was wrong.
Oh, no, it's not. Shut up.
And
basically, Case's complaint is the same complaint I have about every time a new Batman movie is announced.
No, that's fair.
yeah. Or that's like me with every time a new Superman movie is announced or a new Spider-Man movie is announced. It's like, well, especially now that Spider-Verse is out, I don't ever want to see Spider-Man on film ever again. I don't. Unless it's like Spider-Gwen or Spider-Ham or Noir Spider-Man.
Yep.
Like,
But you don't want Peter Parker anymore as Spider-Man, because he's been overexposed to the character. We've seen 3 different live-action iterations. We've seen him in animated form. We've seen him so much that it's the same argument in that regard. If you've seen it so much, it's like, can we just, move on to other characters that might also be interesting? No, because, for some reason, Disney and everyone has the idea we need to stick to the same fucking character, because then we're safe and then we make money. Yeah, you're making a fuck ton of money. You're making way too much money. Take a risk and maybe not risk. And maybe risk not making the most amount of money for one time, Maybe do that one time, Disney. Can we fucking do that once? Jesus.
or we could finally have Ewan McGregor be in something Star Wars related that's universally beloved. Imagine being like what, for some people, for what some assholes will just say, oh, he's the only good thing in this fucking thing that raped my childhood. Imagine that, where you have that on your conscience for literally your entire fucking acting career. So, you know what? If this gets all those fucking geeks and gamer jackasses to shut the fuck up for 2 seconds, then by all means, let's make this show, let's make it the best possible thing it can be. And then I can be happy. Because I will feel vindicated as a prequelist. Sorry, Nico, go ahead.
I'm kind of hoping Hondo shows up in this, just because his interactions with Obi-Wan are always fun. And, a lot can happen in that galaxy. It's a much bigger place than you think. So who knows? Maybe Hondo needs to go to Tatooine for something, and they meet up and reminisce for a bit.
Okay, I will say that it's very unlikely to happen, because of the fact that Hondo does mention Obi-Wan, or he doesn't literally mention him, but indirectly mentions him in Rebels, saying that he knew him a very long time ago, clearly pointing towards the Clone Wars era, and he says, well, I think we were friends.
Yeah.
So I don't think.
But to be fair, Lucasfilm doesn't give a shit about its own canon, as Donald Gleason didn't even know his character's name was Armitage. But
they do care about consistency. If something happened in one episode, they do care about that, and that's why they have Pablo Hidalgo doing that. So
yeah,
Hondo will not show up. I can
unfortunately.
safely say that.
Yes, we can all safely say that. But the other thing, too, is, I'm kind of with the Christian Harloffs of the world who have always wondered, when did Obi-Wan meet with Vader that second time, and when did he find out that Vader was alive? Because, I'm sorry, off of everything we've gotten so far, it doesn't make sense for Vader to be like, Obi-Wan once thought as you did. Because no, Obi-Wan didn't go to Mustafar to kill to try to help Anakin. He went there to kill him. He totally went there to kill him. And how does Obi-Wan know what Vader is, who Vader is? How does he know what Vader is like? How does he know that he's more machine than man? That, again, it doesn't make sense.
He has seen him. More machine than man is from Return of the Jedi. That's after they fought and split in two.
But you know what I'm saying. How does Obi-Wan possibly know he's alive? He can't. Especially when Obi-Wan's trying to cut himself off from the Force after the events of Revenge of the Sith. So, literally, I just want Ewan to do this one last thing, to just fill in this one last gap, so that way, hopefully, we can also get Hayden in something that's universally beloved in Star Wars, and have them have one more interaction between them before meeting on the Death Star. That's all that I want out of this show. And also to watch Ewan McGregor be a great actor.
By the way, speaking of Hayden, wouldn't it be cool for him to make like an appearance as a Force Ghost or some kind in Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah.
He probably is. He probably is going to.
Honestly, that's the only reason I think he showed up to Celebration this year, and I think it's the only reason that he's been making publicity rounds, because he's going to be in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I think so too. And look, the thing is, I think Hayden is okay. Hayden performs Anakin poorly in the prequels, but that's due to bad direction and writing. Mostly writing, because the moment that he actually doesn't say anything and he has to show facial expressions without saying anything, then he's actually pretty good in those prequels. Yes. So I do think with the right direction, like J.J. Abrams is a good director and he can work with actors, then I think he could be very good. And he could be in something universally loved. Hopefully.
And again, that's... So yeah, as I've basically been saying this whole entire time, I just want people to understand why I love the prequels. So let's just get a good show that showcases all the best aspects of the prequels, and that way I can tell people, shut the fuck up and let me enjoy this. Thank you. So with that, guys, we are going to take a quick 5-minute break. But unfortunately, because this is Case's last part of the show, as he unfortunately was not on for the conversation with Kaiser, please, sir, tell the good folks where they may find you online.
I'm going to be sleeping soon, so in my bed. No, but you can follow me being very lonely on Dedicated to Art this weekend for reactions and stuff, because these two knuckleheads are in New York. And at Dutch Movie Guy on Twitter, Case Cornelius on Facebook and Letterboxd, and good night.
All right, guys. So, like I said, we'll be back in 5 minutes with Kaiser on the other side of the line. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you shortly. Hey guys, it's Chris here. So instead of a traditional break as we have been doing for the longest time, I'm actually going to do something that's just a little bit different, from what we usually would do, because there's something that you'll notice in the second half of tonight's show as part of the interview with Kaiser, that I kind of just say something happened that we talked about in the first half when we kind of forgot to talk about it at all. Oops, my bad. But I'm just gonna get us there right now, and we do have a big announcement. That announcement is So you guys can follow Dedicated Art, obviously, on YouTube. So please subscribe, click the button and whatnot, click the bell. You can also follow us on Twitter at D23 Channel. You can follow us on Instagram at D23 Channel, and we do have a Facebook page. And in addition to following us on Anchor, where you can support the podcast and whatnot, but we can also add a new platform that we are launching this Sunday, September 1st, and that is the Dedicated Art Facebook group. That's right. We're now doing the Facebook group thing, where you guys will get to interact with us all day, every day if you want, and it'll be a fun time. And it won't just be your typical question of the day and posting / updating when certain things are going to drop, or talking to you guys about like who was your favorite guest of the show so far, like what do you want us to talk about in the future. But in addition to that, it's also going to be a space for you guys to, if you got something you want to promote, just post in the page, and we'll usually approve it, depending on what kind of content it is. If it's something more adults only, good luck getting that through. But, in addition to that, like, let's say, it's just kind of a more laid back type of environment. Like, hell, if let's say I'm just feeling like messing around and I want to break out my guitar and play a song for you guys, I'll do that. Because what the hell? Why not? So yeah, guys, please, this Sunday, September 1st, we are going public, and come join the Dedicated Art Facebook group. It'll be a fun time. Now, back to the shenanigans, and take care. And welcome back to the second half of the Who Cares Anyway podcast. So we hope you guys enjoyed the first half, and as I did mention up top, this was actually recorded about a week ago, roughly. Even though, yes, we are sort of pretending that this is the night before, and I'm still here in Minnesota. But yes, currently as I'm speaking, Nico and I are actually both in New York. We're probably at Ellis's show, having enjoying the yuck yucks and getting pretty boozed up with
getting smashed with the Smasher.
Exactly. But speaking of, it's funny that you bring up the Smasher, because on the second half of this show, we would like to bring you a very special guest, a guy who I honestly have to call him one of the most dedicated people of his particular art in the Schmoedown, that being of managing. And please, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show the mastermind of the dungeon, Kaiser himself. Kaiser, thanks for coming on the show, man. And how is your lovely commute home?
Well, look, it's Kaiser in a car doing a podcast. I mean, by the time I retire from the Schmoedown, these people are going to think I live out of my car.
I mean, would it be that's the most inaccurate statement?
Oh, what are you? You and Ken Knapsack hang out together?
I mean, they do sound alike. That
sounded like a straight knapsack dig right there.
Apparently, I have that knapsack quality to my voice, which is either a blessing or a curse. I haven't decided yet. But
trust me, it's a curse. He should stick to writing books.
And to be fair, his book is pretty fantastic.
Phenomenal. The guy's a great author.
Yeah,
but he should keep his mouth shut.
Yeah, and let the scary ginger do the talking for him.
Good Lord, and she is scary. That's the only person I fear in this league. I don't know if I'm coming or going when I'm around her.
How many people do you think she's murdered?
Oh, few. You don't even know what her time in the French Foreign Legion. Who knows what she did there? Okay, there's different rules once you go overseas, and never mind maritime laws. Kill a man at sea and nobody knows shit.
Yeah, I mean, all you gotta do is just dump the body over the side, give it some chum, so that way the sharks can just take care of it for you. Yeah,
no, I do respect her and I do fear her. As far as everybody else in that faction, they're all still figuring out how to change the light bulbs.
Yeah, considering, I have taken down Chance Ellison, but I haven't taken down your champion.
The champion?
The champion. Fun fact here, Kaiser. once upon a time, I actually have played Paul a couple times in the fan leagues, and unfortunately, each time I came up just a little bit short. But that's just the level of player that you've managed to get in your stable.
You know what's funny about this is how understated Paul Oyama is in this league. Nobody wanted to give him credit. Nobody wants to give him credit for shit. Oh, he doesn't earn his matches. He doesn't this. He's not one of the great. I mean, honestly, where does it all end? He only beat arguably the greatest player in the history of this sport. So you know what? When I saw that kid, I knew he had talent. He's got the eye of the tiger, and I knew I could do something with him. Now, I had to go in with the tag team angle because, I had to pick up his buddy Zipper, who at first I thought was going to be holding the doors for us. But you know what? That kid turned out to be a hell of a competitor. Yeah.
And, it is a little funny that you wound up going for that combination. But looking back on it, it actually makes a lot more sense because Paul is obviously very good at, like, a wide berth of movies. But because he has such a wide range, it's the geek stuff that he still has to get a little work in, and you can ask, like our buddy Case, who actually managed to take down Paul in a geek-related match. But then you got Zipper to kind of cover those blind spots.
Oh yeah.
And you actually put a solid team together. Like when you were assembling when you were assembling both of them, did you have that in mind, or was it just sort of, I'll just pick this guy up because what the hell, why not?
Here's the thing. You got to love Zipper's dedication, his fire. Now, granted, he got railroaded by corruption because he thought they were going to make him the face of that organization, if that's what they even are. I think they're more like a treehouse club or whatever, bunch of Wiccas walking around with, robes and shit and smelling, lighting incense, whatever they do at their meetings. But I think that the kid has fire. He's got there's something about him. He's a little lost. He's a little, in the head, he's not completely right, but I like that. I like that about him. He just gets better. If you notice, Zipper just gets better. Yes. And I'll tell you what, he said something a while back. He's like, coming into this faction makes you have to be better. How are you going to stand next to Paul Oyama and the Smasher and not have your A game? So he has that. He's coachable. He's got that fire. He wants to get better, and he's gotten better. And look, I was looking for a tag team. I needed a tag team, because with the Smasher, me and him are brothers till the end. But I wanted a tag team because I knew that we could win in that arena. Now, I didn't know for sure if it was going to work out with Paul, in singles, because Paul goes his own way. Paul's an assassin. Paul does what Paul wants to do. He doesn't give a shit. Okay. And it's hard sometimes to coach people like that. But when you're that good, you're that dedicated, and you're that sharp, man, you kind of let a guy steer his own ship, and you just guide him where you need to guide him. You get out there and you take on the haters. While he's taking on all the competitors, I'm taking on the haters. I'm taking on all the clappers. So that's what I bring to Paul.
And getting back to Zipper, when you first picked him up, he had just thrown his shirt on the ground and walked away from his best friend, Winston Marshall. I have to ask, does he have a regular habit of taking his shirt off when he gets upset?
Yes. We were at an Arby's not more than 2 weeks ago, and he got roast beef instead of turkey, and he pulled off his Joker shirt and he threw it at the guy across the counter. He's walking out. First of all, Zipper shouldn't be taking his shirt off anywhere, but that being said, I paid off the kid $20-$30. We got the right sandwich. We cooled him down. I like that anger. That's what the dungeon's all about. We're about finesse. We're about winning, but we're angry. We're pissed off. We've been playing with a chip on our shoulder since David Washington. That's his name, right?
No, it's Jay
David
Washington.
Moore.
No, David Moore.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
My Moores and Washington's confused. The two guys we beat first. How's that?
Yeah.
Sounds about right. But also, you mentioned lunch meat in Arby's, and one of the recurring things of the dungeon is the sayings of hamburger. How did that get started?
Well, I'd like to say that I was the mastermind who created that, but I have to give credit due. I have borrowed hamburger, and I'm carrying the hamburger tradition from somewhere else. And I don't know how much you guys know about me, but my dad actually wrestled professionally for a while.
Ooh.
Nice.
Now, granted, this was in the American Legion halls in the 60s and 70s before Vince turned it into the greatest show on earth. But my dad, who was a professional major league umpire, used to supplement his income in the minor leagues by wrestling. And he was a jobber. He wore a mask, so nobody knew who the hell he was. His name was the Hatchet. But he got very friendly with a lot of wrestlers. Bobby the Brain Heenan, who you guys know is one of my idols, is also one of my dad's best friends. So I knew Bobby as a kid growing up. Wrestling has always been a very important influence on my life. And hamburger was actually created by Hawk from the Legion of Doom.
Ooh.
So Hawk and
Okay.
Animal were friends with my father. And when my dad, he eventually went on to become a professional umpire, they gave him the ultimatum. You're either going to be a wrestler or an umpire, pick one. And he chose baseball, and he got to work 2 World Series, so I think he made the right call. But that said, I used to go to the matches in Rochester, New York all the time as a kid, and Hawk and Animal were my heroes. They're my favorite of all time. And I'll never forget being maybe 13 years old, and before Hawk and Animal go out to do a match, Hawk puts the shoulder pads with the spikes on me. I mean, shit, that's kind of like Cinderella getting a glass slipper put on her foot, right? If you're a wrestling nerd. And I said, Hawk, who are you wrestling tonight? And he leaned into my face and he goes, hamburger. Which means it doesn't matter. They're getting the shit beat out of them, right?
Yeah.
Now the story continues. They were wrestling two jobbers, and Nico, the finishing match or the finishing move for the Legion of Doom was what?
The Tower of Doom?
The clothesline off. I lost my headphones. The clothesline off the top rope, right?
I believe that's called the Tower of Doom.
Oh, look at you! You just fucking know everything, don't you?
Wait,
So-
I want to be your client when the wrestling trivia Schmoedown finally gets a thing.
Yeah, we're gonna figure that out. I'm actually getting out of the car now. You can still see me.
Yes, sir.
So after the match, Hawk jumps off the top rope. He clotheslines Mr. Hamburger. The dude falls on his neck. Stretcher has to come into the ring and take the guy out for real, not no bullshit. Like the guy was really hurt. And I'm sitting backstage and I'm like, oh my God, this guy's really hurt. And Hawk and Animal finish. They come out back. They finish their posing for the crowd and whatever. And they bring the guy by on the stretcher first, right? They had to get him out of the ring while Hawk and Animal did their showboating, right? So I see this guy with this neck brace on, his face is all red, screaming in agony on the stretcher, right? And I'm like, oh shit, so you think wrestling's fake, huh? And afterwards, about 10, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 seconds later, Hawk and Animal come back from their match. And Hawk, by now the paint's already melted off his face. He's sweating like a fucking pig. And he gets in my face and he looks at the guy. He goes, I told you, hamburger. and you know what? That always stuck out to me. I could tell you guys Hawk and Animal stories until we're blue in the face, but because I stayed friends with those guys. And truth be told, a lot of what I borrow from is Hawk and Animal, and certainly Bobby Heenan's a big influence on me. But that's the origin of hamburger. I know that was a long way to get to that story.
No, by all means, that's kind of one of the fascinating things about the Schmoedown is unless you're well versed in a lot of wrestling lore, you're going to be introduced to a lot of these things for the first time. So, and to be honest, I did not know that, but thank you.
You didn't know that where I got the hamburger from?
No.
Not many people know the shtick. You know how it goes. Like, oh, hey, what's up, bub? Hold on, we're just walking in on somebody else working. Give me a minute.
Okay.
But yeah, so now we're back in dungeon headquarters. So let me get the lighting on me. So yeah, that's it, man. That's where the hamburger shit came from. God bless.
I love it. Because like my wrestling knowledge goes back more into like the 2000s onward. So like I didn't grow up around the time of the Legion of Doom. So this is kind of like a new story for me as well, despite all my knowledge of the business.
Those guys were the greatest. I've been to a few unsavory places with Hawk mostly. Animal was definitely his brother's keeper. Hawk liked to have a good time, and so yeah, I've been to a couple places that I can tell you guys some stories about once this is over with.
Absolutely.
I gotta be careful what secrets I let out about who I hang out.
Which and actually, okay, so it's funny that you just mentioned that because the dungeon has been under a little bit of flack as of the last couple months because everyone's saying that the Smasher has been giving away all of his secrets, which that's not really true. Like, what do you have to say to the people who have been quote unquote accusing Smets of giving away all the trade secrets when he really hasn't been?
Smash has certainly leaked some things, but
I know firsthand of that.
Well, sure,
okay.
as do I, because he was on our show and he told us a couple things, but he didn't give details.
No, I mean he accidentally leaked that I won a fan league match weeks before it went up.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Well, that sounds about right for him. See, because like I said it on a called it a Collider one day, and I said if Smets was in the Mafia, he'd get whacked on the second day because he can't keep his mouth shut. So that being said, he's also the same guy who says, hey, you know what? If you think you can do it, here, go ahead. Here's my secrets. You put the time in. You put the effort in. You go do it if you think, you know what I mean, you can pull it off. So, you got to respect that. But do I like him? No, I wish he'd keep his mouth shut, and I think he's getting better at it. But you know what? He backs it up, man. He backs it up. So has it hurt him? No. He's only lost one match on a brain fart. So it hasn't hurt him.
And it's actually really funny that you mentioned that because like you are, you've been having pretty much nothing but success, minus those two little slip ups during the collision. But then you made up for it.
I'm undefeated. I'm undefeated except for a brain fart.
Yeah.
I don't take credit for Zipper's loss because I wasn't at that match, so that doesn't go against my record. I've got one loss.
The manager bowl technically didn't count on anyone's record. So
nope,
yeah.
That's an exhibition match. People want to count that, then they're reaching. People want to come out and say I'm a bad manager. Yeah, that's real funny. Bad manager's got a belt the first year he came into the league in less than a year, and he lost one match on a brain fart. Like, how's that for bad managing? I don't. But people get jealous. There's certain people that want to flap their gums. Roxy Stryer, for one. She's always got a lot to say. Her and Knapsack should sit together and, play freeze tag and just stay out of the game for a while and learn something about themselves.
Woo! Shots fired. And you know what? The sad thing is, you have you have a complete validation to back that up. Because, as we've already established, you have just a powerhouse of a lineup. And to be honest, I don't know how you would improve it unless you somehow got I don't know, like a Whitney Seibold level.
Well,
player.
We know you've been looking at Rachel Silvestrini as the next possible recruit.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt.
Is there any rumor to that you want to confirm or deny?
Here's the thing: is I see Rachel around the arena, so to speak. I've seen Rachel play. I've hung out with Rachel. The girl is just that perfect balance of attitude and sweetheart. So she reminds me of me, because underneath all this shit, there's a sweetheart. But on the outside, you're gonna get the gruff, rough, and tumble. Because you guys know I didn't come to the Schmoedown to make any friends. I came here to beat people's asses. And so far, mission accomplished. But I do like Rachel's moxie. I think she would be great. We just got to be careful who we let in when we let them in. As you guys know, timing is everything. Who knew if the whole Paul Zipper thing was going to work. There's some risk there, certainly. Those guys are young, they're new, they're rookies. So am I. I mean, I'm a rookie. I'm not trying to downplay it, but at the same time, if you think about our faction, we're all rookies. We're all rookies. We almost beat one of the greatest players in the game in Kalinowski. We did beat the greatest player in the game in Merle. What's next? Now we got to win those tag team belts. Like, I want all three. I want Smets to go into the Star Wars League and take that belt, because that's going to happen. That is going to happen, because Smets has to, at some point, Smets has got to branch out from IG. Granted, I'm not trying to put the cart in front of the horse, because we will be back, and we're gonna play Mike again somewhere. So I don't care if we play Mike at the trivia night down the street. We're gonna get a piece of that kid again, whether it's sanctioned or not. He knows it's coming too, because we're the only real challenge for that kid. With Cushing now, who I have nothing but respect for as a competitor, Cushing now stepping away from the game. But who else is gonna challenge him?
But speaking of Mike, by the way, and again, let me preface that we don't currently know who Paul is going to face. As of right now, we just know Mike is one of the three options. But you have Mike Kalinowski, you have Ben Bateman, and you have Jeff Snyder. They all bring unique equations to the table. But I'm assuming you still believe Paul can beat all of them.
Absolutely. I think he could beat all three of them in the same day. If they lined them all up one against the next, they'd all get knocked down. The reason I don't want to play Kalinowski is because I want Smets to get his revenge. We'll start with that. So hopefully he loses. Bateman, you know what? Bateman's a freaking stud. That kid can play the game. Now, does he wear suits that are too tight for him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Does he wear, I saw him at the pool in Comic-Con. He's in the suit. People thought he was security. And so, but you can't take anything away from his game. The kid's an animal. And and even though he's in that old timers faction, the five ponies, you got to take him out to pasture at some point. Even though he's in that, I liked him where he was, because I respect. Even though I got, Burnett I'm still on the fence about. I can't quite figure him out yet. But I like Guy. I like what Guy brings. I like his moxie. I do actually kind of like the Hitman, even though I decided not to sign him. I could have, but. I'm actually hoping it turns out to be Snyder, because I want to beat Roxy and put her in her place once and for all. So I'm really hoping it is Snyder.
And it is funny that you bring up that rivalry with Roxy, and considering that, yes, she through her management, she did accomplish the team belts, but they didn't hold the defense. If Paul actually wins. And let's say, just for shiggles, it is Jeff. That would officially validate you, in my opinion, as manager of the year so far, because you'll have won a title and actually defended it successfully. That's
a big thing. That's a big thing. Everybody likes to say, "Oh, winning the title is easy. It's defending it that's hard." Yeah, I guess so. I mean, you still got to win 2 matches. So no matter how, winning 2 is always harder than winning 1, whatever the order is. But. I came into this whole thing not giving a shit if I won this manager of the year. I came in with one goal. I want Smash to win a belt. Now, we built the faction out. We added a couple guys to the roster, so now my interests have been expanded. Now my energy has to be spread out across these 3 guys, which is why I don't know if I have enough time to manage Silvestrini right now. Down the road, maybe. But right now, we got dungeon business first and foremost, and we got to handle that. But once I got called out, he doesn't deserve to be in the running and all this bullshit. And I got called out, why is he letting his guy give all the secrets? And once I got called out, as far as my prowess and my managing skills, now I want to win that fucking manager of the year. You know that. Can I curse? You gonna beep this?
Oh no, by all means. Let it fucking slide, man. Just let it fucking out.
You know how hard it is to not curse on the Schmoedown? It's a tough. Harloff's got me not swearing. He's got a freaking swear jar that's got about $400 in it, because every time I swear, boom, money goes in there. He's got to do the money going. He's got to do the swipe wipe every time. If you see this, it means I cursed.
Is that money going to the new studio he eventually hopes to purchase?
He will get that studio. I believe in him. I don't like him all the time, but I believe in him.
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned your relationship with Harloff, and I don't think I've honestly heard the story of how you two initially met. Never mind, like, how you got into Schmoedown, because we'll get more into that in a little bit, but, like, when did you first come across the tour de force of personality known as Christian Harloff?
He's told this story, and I think he's told it on Collider, and I know he's told it in his Christian in a Car podcast, whatever the hell he was doing it today. But I mean, I'll try and tell the abbreviated version for y'all. Christian and I are the same age. Christian and I both went to film school. Christian went to Florida State. I went to San Diego State. But at the time, I was going to a small Jesuit college in Buffalo, New York, Canisius College, where I played football undergrad. I went to undergrad there. I got my master's at San Diego State, which I know people probably think I would have got my master's from San Quentin, but I know, I've got paperwork to back it up, and they aren't parole papers. So undergrad, when I was in Buffalo, I graduated, and I told my dad I wanted to go to this filmmaking workshop called the New York Film Academy, which is like this back of the filmmaker magazine. Oh, come learn filmmaking in a month, and I said, for my graduation gift, I want you to send me to this filmmaking workshop in UCLA. Harloff was attending the same filmmaking workshop at UCLA. Harloff lived one floor below me in the dorms. We lived in the dorm rooms at UCLA over us for one summer. So this New York Film Academy, which has got like little satellite film schools set up all over the world, took over UCLA. They used their facilities, and they used their dorms. So me and my roommate, Sidney Jackson, were watching Scarface, drinking way too many beers, and we are quoting the movie word for word. And then we start acting it out. And then chairs start flying off the balconies. And Christian was one floor below us. And he was watching wrestling, ironically enough. So it's probably like a Thursday night or something. And he just sees like a lawn chair go whoop by his window. And he's like, what the fuck is going on up there? He walks into me and Sydney doing a full-on scene from Scarface. Me in character. And he looks at me, he goes, I'm shooting a film about the biggest scumbag on campus. It's like my Animal House. And I want you to play that character. The movie got a standing ovation on the last day when they show everybody's movies. They played it twice. It was so, and it was called Burke. The movie's called Burke. It's on YouTube. If you Google like Harloff, Burke, Kaiser, I don't know, some variation of that, you can watch the movie. And it's a 16 millimeter reversal film shot on a Bolex, which is like the same camera they used to shoot those old Super Bowls. It's like a 40-pound piece of iron. It's the same camera they stormed Normandy with. That's what a piece of shit operation we're dealing with here at the New York Film Academy. So I'm in this movie with Christian, and we became fast friends. But then I moved back to New York. He ends up coming to LA before me. We lose track of each other for probably, 15 years, 12 years. And my stand-up comedy teacher and Christian, when Christian was doing stand-up, were friends. So it was by happenstance that Cynthia, my stand-up teacher, knew Christian from the stand-up. You obviously Christian has that career in stand-up. Christian's name's on the side of the Comedy Store.
Yeah, of course.
And we kind of got reconnected after all those years. And then the Schmoedown thing's a whole nother story. But yeah, me and Christian he was literally my first friend in Los Angeles. That doesn't mean we're friends now. He was just my friend then, 20 years ago. I never professed to like Christian Harloff. I respect Christian Harloff, but like is a strong word.
Oh, that's great.
Well, if it makes you feel better, Kaiser, obviously we like you because you
We
have, one of the best personalities out of the managers, in at least in my personal opinion. Like, because I love how spunky you are and I love how honest you are.
Yeah,
And
there's some
quick you are,
honesty there. That's that Bobby Heenan. You got to learn, Nico. You got to learn those rules from the masters, right?
Absolutely.
You're only as good as your heroes and masters. So, I mean, to say that Bobby isn't one of my top 3 idols and one of my top 3 inspirations in life in general. He was the most quick-witted individual I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a person command a room and have so many rapid-fire jokes that landed than Bobby the Brain Heenan. It was really special to have grown up and known him outside of the sport. And I'm friends with his daughter to this day, and so it's funny how a lot of that wrestling background translates to the Schmoedown. Who would think all these years later that I finally found the one thing in life I'm good at, which is managing champions.
And that's what I love about the Schmoedown is, I have this saying that wrestling is life and life is wrestling, and the Schmoedown is wrestling in its own right, and also the Schmoedown is life for a lot of people. Like that, it's become that passionate thing that everyone is willing to
crazy?
110% into.
Fans, the competitors. I mean, it's such a. I used to go. I'd go and watch some matches every now and again. If I hadn't seen Chris in a year or so, and he was always sending me texts, "Come on down to the studio. We're shooting this week," and I was so busy and trying to get things done in this town. And I work in the industry. My second job when I'm not managing Schmoedown. But I'd gone and watched a couple times. I was just always amazed at how Christian is just a great builder. He's a great architect. And the man knows every angle. And I was always impressed by the Schmoedown. 100%. I never in a million years would have even considered it had Smash not said, "I'm in. I need a manager." And he's one of my best friends. And how do you not answer the call when your best friend says, "Let's do this"? You know what I mean? So that kind of brings me to how I got reconnected with Christian as far as the Schmoedown's concerned.
Now, getting back to managing, do you feel like you have to use different tactics depending on who it is you're managing? Like, do certain things work well for Kevin but not as well for Paul or Zipper, and vice versa?
100%. 100%. They're different human beings. They got different personalities. They got different approaches to life and the game. So Zipper is like, to me, what Zipper is, it's like I'm dating his mother. And he's like the kid that comes with the package. You know what I mean? Like, I got to deal with this kid. And God love him. He's a sweetheart. He's funny. He's insane. And he's talented. So with him, I take a different approach. I'm like the Bad News Bears manager to Zipper.
Coach Buttermaker, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like a Buttermaker to Zipper. And that's why it works. With Paul, it's just a matter of being there to kind of like help him through his process. Paul has a way of doing things. Okay. So with Paul, you kind of get on board to what makes him comfortable, how he wants to train. I almost shit when I forget who we were playing. It was Chance or somebody. And we got John Carpenter, or no, it was Kurt Russell came up on the wheel. And me and Paul must have ran 30 Kurt Russell questions in my living room that morning. And I was like, pick Kurt Russell when it came up on the wheel. And so Paul's got his training techniques, and I kind of try to fall in line with that to help him through. And I'm a good hype man. Paul needs a hype man, Paul's not the guy. Paul's like Cushing in that sense where she doesn't have to go out there and do the whole, dog and pony show and the she kind of plays her game. And so I think Paul and Cushing are a lot alike, to be honest with you, in some regards. So Paul, I think, needs a good hype man. Paul needs a guy who can get on the mic and talk down the haters. I can get in front of all the bullshit while Paul stays in the back and plays his game. Now with Smash, he's my best friend. This is a guy I deal with every day. I mean, I'm gonna fucking see this guy every day, whether I want to or not. You know, talk to him or text him or something. Like, he's like my brother. So it's coaching every day. It's managing every day with him. You know, whether it's, you know, us kind of talking through things, life shit, whatever. But it's different, man. It's like with Smets, it's really that Mickey and Rocky thing. I'd like to say, you know.
I like it. I like it.
And I think that actually is if you had to compare your relationship to a film, I think that would be the perfect relationship. So does that unfortunately mean that at some point you're gonna get killed off and that, you know, you'll get replaced by someone less savvy than you?
Yeah. Who's gonna do it?
Yeah, who's gonna be the Apollo Creed that?
Come get some. Come get some.
It's the Mr. T character. Fuck.
Mm.
God. Come
No,
on,
I mean,
Clubber Lang. Clubber Lang.
There we go.
No, not the person who's gonna beat up Smets and then give
I know
Tyson the heart attack. I'm asking, like, who's gonna be the Apollo Creed, the rival that takes Smets under his wing? And
Right. Yeah, I mean, there was some some talk. I know Roxy was trying to take a shot at getting Smets when he was at a lower point, you know, and that's another thing that rubbed me the wrong way about her. You're going to talk smack about my managing game, then you're going to come after my guy and try and bring him into your weak-ass faction? I've got respect for that woman. She's tough as nails. She's a good manager. She knows the game. But, yo, like Jack Nicholson said in Batman, don't rub another man's rhubarb. You know what I mean?
Now, speaking of managers that might rub people the wrong way, by the time this podcast airs, we'll be sort of coming to the end of Robert Meyer Burnett's reign as commissioner.
I thought I could work with this guy. You know, I thought I could talk to this guy. There's no talking to him. How do you talk to a complete lunatic? He's probably drinking chicken blood in a back alley of a comic book store right now. Him and corruption got a lot in common. They're both weirdos.
Well, you talk to Robert Meyer Burnett very loudly because otherwise he'll never hear you over the sound of his own voice.
He seems like he's got like likable qualities, but he's also just a weirdo.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you shoot a film with William Shatner in it, and, you know, it's going to mess you up for life.
Is that what you equate him to? The Shatner of the Schmoedown? It's not.
He literally made a movie with Shatner in it, so...
When you say made, you mean he directed it? He acted with him in it?
He directed a film. It's called Free Enterprise. Honestly, dude, check it out. It's a legitimately great film. But yeah, like, and that's just a bit of kayfabe aside. But back to kayfabe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what.
Strange man.
It's been frustrating me this past month.
I thought our factions could work together. Quite frankly,
they could. And, you know, sure.
I tried. You saw the clip. I waited for him. He was coming out of the can. I tried to offer my services and tell him, you know, I got your back. You know, you need some security. A guy like you, now that you're top dog, they're going to be gunning for you. You could use a little help. What does he do? Guy can't even get my name straight. I mean, what are we dealing with here? Walking around with that interview with a vampire jacket like he's top dog?
Thank you for talking about his jacket. I think it's horrendous.
Works for him, I guess.
I mean, personally, I love it, but that's like the only thing I like about Robert Meyer Burnett, the character. So, anyway.
He's got a good stable. I can't argue with that. He's got a guy who beat Dan Murrow, for Christ's sakes. That ain't too bad.
You're not wrong there.
You're not wrong there, but there were a lot of factors going into that match that I think.
There's always factors when somebody loses and somebody wins. But that said, you want to know what happened in that match? Let's all call a spade a spade. Guy got in his head. Guy outguyed him. And that's the magic of Andrew Guy. That's a guy who necessarily doesn't have to come with his A game, but as long as he gets in your head, man, he can swing that shit in his favor. You got to respect that.
And I do respect that, but it's also what's only carried him so far.
Right. You don't think he can go to the next level?
No, because if let's say he were to really make a run for it in singles, and he could get himself to a title match against Paul, he wouldn't have a prayer, because Paul is pretty much.
Paul would massacre him.
Yeah, Paul's pretty much unbreakable in terms of his headspace.
Paul would wear that kid like a mink coat. And quite frankly, Guy might like that.
Probably.
I love you. I love you so much.
It's good to be loved, Nico.
Although, let's play devil's advocate here for just a second. Now, out of the upcoming opponents that Paul could possibly face, whether it's Bateman, Kalinowski, or Snyder, or possibly the winner of the tournament, and again, just for an example, let's say Mark Riley were to win that tournament, or anyone in the bracket for the tournament currently, is there anybody that you think Paul could honestly struggle against?
Ethan Irwin. There's a guy who's, you can't ever count that guy out. That guy go out and win a championship tomorrow. That guy's strong. I mean, that's a guy who works in the industry, for one, which is why Snyder's dangerous. Snyder, he's being a critic and not an actual hardworking individual. No, I'm breaking balls. It's too bad Snyder's with Roxy, because I would probably pull for him in this league, to be honest with you. You gotta respect that guy's moxie and attitude. But I think Snyder could give Paul a run. So Irwin, Snyder, Bibiani, you can't ever count out. That kid's on Bibiani's best day, he can hang with anybody. So I'd say those three guys come to mind.
Fair enough.
We'll beat Merle again. If Merle wants that rematch, he'll get beat again.
And I was about to mention that, because Merle, he still has that free-for-all title opportunity in his back pocket whenever he wants to use it. Now, let's say, so you're actually counting on him possibly cashing that in New York.
See, he's like sneaky. You never know where he's coming or going. And I saw Merle at Comic-Con, and we spoke on a very gentlemanly, is that a term?
Sure.
Gentleman-like terms. We had a handshake and a Coke. I tried to kind of pull it out of him, but he wasn't giving up shit. I don't know what he's going to do. I really don't. What does a guy do who's the greatest in the game? He just lost his belt. He's got options. Now, he's got a circus clown for a manager, but outside of that, he's got everything else going for him. I mean, I don't know what he does. Does he go after a tag team title? I don't know what he does. But if he faces Paul again, it's going to end up the same way. That's just the way it is. I got an assassin, and this kid wants it as bad as anybody I've ever seen. And I'm shocked. We run movies. Me and him go out to eat dinner, and we don't ever talk nothing but movies. And he can name movies from the 70s. He can tell you, postmodern Italian cinema. I mean, this kid's knowledge is deep. Now, granted, I didn't like him missing Cujo, and I didn't like him missing some of those 80s movies. And I said, you better get your ass in the gym, so to speak, in the video store, so to speak, and start watching these 80s movies. I'm sitting there on the sidelines. I'm like, Cujo, motherfucker. I mean, how do you not know this? But he's the champion of the world, and I'm not, so I shouldn't talk. But that being said, his knowledge is insane. And you know what's funny about Paul? He's a film lover. He loves cinema.
Oh,
he ain't just doing this to win belts and be the best. And while certainly he's motivated by the competition, and he does want to be the best, he does want to hold that belt, he loves cinema. And I'll tell you what, if you're a guy who loves cinema, you're always going to be good in my book. And so there's never a shortage of things to talk about with the guy, and certainly never a shortage of things to quiz him with. So from one film nerd to another, that's just a great relationship that him and I have, and that's, I'm real, I couldn't be more proud of the kid, and I'm really happy that it's worked out for him. And it's going to be great to say I was there when he did it, man, when he won that championship. I was right there. So pretty proud of that dude.
Well, yeah, and I was about to say, and it truly showed in that match that all of you were just beaming with such energy. Like, and you know what? No, like, honestly, walk me through, like, as you're watching that match. Walk me through some of your emotions as you're going through that title match.
I mean, first of all, they went toe to toe, and then Merle went on that run. And I'll tell you what, man, I looked at Paul. He didn't show 1 ounce of I'm beat, I'm done. I'm going home. I'm packing it in. He had just as much fight in him going into the match as he did when he was down. And he very wisely did not take my advice because I wanted him to bet it all in the betting round. I said, bet it all. That's the only way you're going to beat him, Earl. Got to bet it all. And he didn't. He chose to bet 2, I believe.
Yes.
But there you go. That's why he's a champion and I'm not. He just knew not to take that advice. I'm not going to say everything I tell him to do is right. I'm not going to profess to be the, a soothsayer here. But, I mean, he knew. But I'll tell you what, man. That lightning round, boy, the kid. That's where a guy like that excels. That's Paul Oyama territory. That's prime time right there. You get in a lightning round with this guy, buddy, pack it up, go to sleep, and we'll see you in the morning. Because that's where a guy like Paul excels. He just thinks fast. He can he deals with pressure well. That's one of the most amazing qualities about him. Deals with pressure as good as I've seen anybody. Whether you're Ken Griffey Jr. or you're, James Harden or name any pro athlete who's been down to the wire, like they just handle pressure. And I think that's his biggest asset. And so I think being down actually helped him, to be honest with you. I think that kept his killer edge.
I would actually agree with that statement. Like, it's sort of that John Roca, Mark Riley mentality. Like, because both times when they won the belts, they were also down for a good chunk of the match, but then the tide swung with just one simple thing, and it just bam. Clicked.
It's amazing. You guys have seen how energy flows in this thing. It can switch on you like it's nobody's business, man. Like I'm shocked sometimes at what I see happen and the way things go. And I'll tell you what, it was just amazing to be there, to watch it, to manage him through it, to have all the boys there. It was a real special moment, and we might have had a beer or 30 afterwards to celebrate. And, we broke some balls, and it was a good day to be in a dungeon. I got to tell you, man, just having that gold it's a big deal. It's a big deal. We don't take it lightly. Paul doesn't take it lightly. And I know when he's in training mode because I don't always hear from him as much, and that's how I know he's studying his ass off. He ain't gonna lose that belt, not anytime soon.
Now, a lot of the other managers, when Chance Ellison sort of came into the league, he had a bit of a chip on his shoulder, and that kind of maybe set a tone for fan league competitors moving forward. That apparently, according to your enemy, Roxy Stryer, she sort of feels Paul has that same cockiness to him, and she said recently that she's hoping Paul loses because if he doesn't get a loss soon at his age, it's going to go to his head and he's going to spiral out of control, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Do you call bullshit on that?
Absolute bullshit. Because first of all, Paul, as young as he is a grown-ass man. Paul's in control of his emotions. Paul is in control of his game. You're not dealing with some kid who just decided, I'm going to go play this game. I'm going to play this sport and we'll see what happens. This kid's been preparing his whole fucking life for this. You know what I mean? Like, this is he's no joke. So, you know what? Would you rather have a guy who's cocky and got a killer edge? Or do you want a guy who's like, well, I'm just going to go out there and try my best and, give him that rah-rah, just see what happens? No, I want a guy who's going to say, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to decimate you. And whether Paul's saying that with his words or he's saying it with his attitude, he's saying it the right way. So I call complete bullshit on that. And as you guys know, you guys have been watching this sport long enough. Everybody's different. Everybody handles their business different. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. What works for Bibiani doesn't work for Merle. You know what I mean? And so why would you change? He's undefeated. He's the youngest champion ever. He's got to go change something? He's going to stop being cocky? No. He's going to play his game and he's going to wipe the floor with everybody. So I do call bullshit. And again, I do think Roxy's a damn good manager. I've never said she was a bad manager. Contrary to what she said about me, I got to give her that respect because she does know the game and she does care and she's got some talent in there. But does she run her mouth? Yeah, that's her problem. You know what I mean? She needs to take the ice bucket challenge 2 or 3 times a day just to wake up. You know what I mean? And just to, get back to reality for a minute. You know what I mean? It is what it is. It is what it is.
I mean, not too long ago, she was struggling to figure out where the studio was every day. So,
I have a poor sense of direction too, so I can't quite fault her for that. But
then here, I'll do it on your behalf then. I've been to LA only twice in my life, and I figured it out very easily both times. So,
well, you're a smart kid. That's the difference between you and a lot of people. Can this thing still see me if I put it in?
Yes. Still
Hold on, it's going to be sideways for a minute.
All right, it'll turn into Battlefield Earth. With all the
I've never seen that movie. I hear it's horrific.
It's pretty terrible. I don't recommend it.
But it came out of that whole L. Ron Hubbard canon. Is that correct?
Yes, it did. Well done. Yeah.
So it was set up for failure.
Pretty much. I mean, shit. It was made on a $75 million budget and only made 25 at the box office. That's
sense.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know how cheated I felt that listen, people might think that, he's just a mouthpiece. He's just he's out there to put on a show. People have no idea that I know movies. Like, why I haven't been given a chance to prove that in this league. I got shortchanged the damn manager bowl. I thought I was going to be able to go out there. I would have killed all those people. They would have stood no chance. Dagnino didn't even know what day it was when we got there. Burnett, we saw what happens when he plays. Him and Dagnino scored 4 points between the two of them. Jay, I mean, look, if it was geekdom, sure, Jay'd probably take me out, but I'll beat Jay's ass straight up in a match if we're doing just general trivia. So it's too bad I didn't have. Maybe next year we'll have a real manager.
You know what? Use this opportunity now. Like, call someone out. Call someone out for a match of your own.
Who? If I could play any other manager in the league,
any player, let alone any manager.
You know what's funny? When Merle missed Jason Clark, I'm sitting on the sidelines. I'm like, Jason fucking Clark, because I love that movie. I knew it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not too bad if I knew one that the Babe Ruth of this thing didn't know. So, but if I had to call anybody out for a match, I'd probably call out Dagnino. I think that's a good place to start. The greatest manager there ever was versus the new greatest manager that will be. I think that's you could bill it as that, right?
Absolutely. Christian, I know you're probably watching this, so
make it happen. Make it happen.
Yeah, I think everyone, now listen, I think people would be entertained by that. Right, I think that could be an undercard. An exhibition
Jesus
match.
Christ, the promos alone would be worth the price of admission.
Yes, especially if we could do them live against each other. That would be even better.
Ooh, yes, please. Yes, please.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. Like, seriously, if honestly we just put, 3 cameras on you guys, and it would just be, 5 minutes. 5 minutes of you two just standing across the desk, 3 cameras on you, and just talk. That would be worth it.
That's a guy who I know I can beat in competition on the mic. Gucci on his best day? Shit. I mean, that's tough. That'd be tough. I don't know if I could beat Gucci on his best day on the mic. I like my chances, but yeah, as far as the match goes, I'll murder him.
So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Kaiser 2020. We want to see this damn match happen. Actually, and speaking of Kaiser 2020, can I ask you just a very quick question?
Sure.
Massa.
We're gonna talk
really?
politics.
I'm not gonna talk politics. I just want to, but I'm just a little curious about the origin of that whole Massa new promo.
Nico's got his Smash shirt. One of the fans in San Diego made that sign, and Smash loves taking all this shit home to put in his edit bay. And I'm like, you're not going to get jobs anymore if you keep putting this shit. People are going to think you're nuts, but he don't care. So we ended up going home with that sign, the Kaiser Smets 2020, and Smets had texted it to me today. So I was like, remember this? I'm like, oh shit, I totally forgot that we took that photo. It doesn't take much to provoke me to post something if I'm feeling some sort of way. 1 p.m., 1 a.m., you never know. And I'm, but I just thought, like, truthfully, in this day and age, anybody's got a chance. We got a game show host for president now. Why can't we have a Schmoedown manager? Just seems likely.
Well, I mean,
So
you'd be better than what we got right now. So
I threw our hat in the ring. We're going to be running under the Green Party, of course. The only people who would take us serious.
Well, you got my vote.
So, yeah, that was that. So that was some fans made that poster, and it ended up going home with us.
Nice.
Real
So
quick though, who should, if you could see me play anybody, who would each of you pick? General trivia. I don't do the Harry Potter and all that bullshit.
Burnett.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Because I want you to shut him up.
I like that. I mean, I think Burnett would be a good one.
I mean, and granted, I'm saying this very cockily because, frankly speaking, I could take on literally any of the managers in the Schmoedown and I could smoke them all.
Watch your mouth now. You're talking to one of them.
You know what? I actually want to give you a bit of a challenge. Josh McCouga.
Oh, that'd be a good one too. I think I could take McCouga down.
I actually think you could too,
but he's sneaky good. McCouga pulls shit out of his ass.
He's sneaky, but he doesn't study, and I feel like the game has sort of passed him.
Neither do I, so it's probably an even match.
But you help other people study, so
This is truth. I mean, I'm a movie guy first and foremost, but you'd never see me pulling some shit like Chance and Paul just coming out of here, rookies, winning matches. Those guys smash. Those guys take it to a new level. I'm not putting in that kind of time. You know what I mean? I got Handmaid's Tale episodes to catch up on. I'm not trying to have a stack of index cards by my bathtub. You know what I mean?
Oh, good Lord. You and my mother.
I just envisioned one of your guys, like, they have the flashcards next to a bar of soap, and they accidentally pick up the flashcards.
Could go that
that's
way.
fine. It was a flashcard about Biodome. Nobody likes that movie anyway.
Yeah. I worked for Pauly Shore, by the way. That's ironic. Brought him up.
I mean,
we'll have to do an episode where we just talk about all my Hollywood foibles.
Honestly, the next time we have you back, I think I honestly just want to get into that because there's so much that, like, because I can't necessarily speak for Nico, but I do have aspirations of being out there in the next 5 years. And
Get your ass out here, kid.
It's the affordability thing at the moment, unfortunately. But
you got to bartend, work at a bowling alley, do whatever you got to do. That's what I did when I got here. Shit.
Yeah. And it's just the affordability of moving out there.
I'm still working at a bowling alley.
Once I get out there, I'll be doing literally everything I can to make my bones because
sure.
There's just something about the LA culture that just
I agree, brother.
That has hooked me in.
Something about this city.
And because literally, like, anybody can actually make something of themselves in a creative sense. And
what's her name from $1 Million Baby was sleeping in a car, and then 5-6 years later she wins an Academy Award. I mean, that says it all right there.
Yeah.
What the hell's her name?
Hilary Swank.
There you go, her.
2-time Oscar winner for
Twice.
Boys Don't Cry also, yeah.
Oh, wow. That movie made me cry. That's a tough movie to get through.
Yeah. God.
There's some movies like you watch them once and you're never going to watch them again. Not because they're bad. It's just because I don't need to see Requiem for a Dream ever again.
I've actually watched the movie 3 times.
In the same day, you psychopath?
Thank God not the same day. But the other 2 times I was actually showing them to some of my friends for the first time, and I'm like...
It's a brilliant film, don't get me wrong.
Oh, my God. Aronofsky was on his game for that one.
I love that dude. Wrestler, that's one of my favorites. I even actually like Black Swan, even though I think it's the female Fight Club is kind of what we got with that movie, which is okay by me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a good film.
Very good film. Sorry, Nico. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I love The Wrestler.
God.
It's a great film. Plus, nice cameos from R-Truth and Cesaro.
Who?
R-Truth and Cesaro.
Those are wrestlers.
Yes, they currently work for Vince. They made cameos in the movie when it was first shot.
I feel like Cesaro. I know that name.
Bald guy from
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, I know who that dude is. What is he, a writer for WWE or?
No, he actually competes. He's in the King of the Ring tournament actually.
Oh,
That's
okay.
happening right now.
Brother, I wish I could say that I tune in, as much as I used to. I don't, and I still love checking in. I don't have I'm kind of juggle 3 jobs and I don't have much time, but when I can sit down on the couch and pop on wrestling for an hour and not have to do shit, my man, I don't care if I don't know who anybody is. I watched that Lucha Libre shit and I don't even know the language.
Oh, I watched Triple Mania a few weeks ago. It was all Spanish commentary. I couldn't understand a word of what was being said, but I enjoyed it either way.
Sure. Now, isn't there normally a third person who does this podcast with you, or is it just you two?
Normally, but for Case is actually already at work, so because he's over in Holland time, and it's about 9-10 a.m. over there. So
he lives in Holland.
Yep.
What does he do over there? Roll joints for a living, or what?
To be honest, I don't know if he's still at his old job of working in a bake shop or not. I just know that he's...
A bake shop? My life would be so much easier if I worked in a bake shop. Maybe I should play places with you. I'll come to Minnesota and work in a bake shop, and you can come work on reality television.
Maybe I'll take you up on that someday.
All right.
But it looks like our time is starting to run out. But before we go, I do have one last question for you, Kaiser. What do you want to accomplish between now and the end of the season?
Well, first and foremost, we got to get Smash a belt. We need to get our revenge against Kalinowski and Corruption. Right now, me and Corruption have split. We're 1-1. They beat Smets. We beat Chance. We're 1-1. I want to win that war. Beating and putting Corruption away is a big goal of mine. But let's be real, man. I came into this league with Smash. I'm going to leave this league with Smash. So we got to get him a belt. That'd be number 1. Number 2, or 1A, because I don't think you can really file or rank, but I want to see Paul stay undefeated, man. That is just such a huge accomplishment. If a rookie can go undefeated and go into 2020 with a strap around his waist, that's a big freaking deal, man. That's a big freaking deal. And you know what? They didn't take us very serious when we came in. Nobody did. They just thought we were a bunch of loud mouths. Oh, we were just coming. Oh, Paul with his glasses, Smash with his hoodie, Kaiser with his big mouth. Yeah, well, that guy with that hoodie, that guy with those shades, and this big mouth are damn near undefeated with a belt. So I want to keep this dungeon faction moving, and I want to look. We came in here not to make friends. We didn't want to be good guys, bad guys, this guy, that guy. We want to beat everybody's ass, and so we're gonna keep to it, man. We're gonna keep to it. And Zip, I'd love to see Zip take out one of these legends. Like, I would like to see Zip or Bibiani. Like, that'd be a great freaking match. I want to see Zip Bibiani. Like, I feel like that could be some shit, because Zip's only getting better. Bibbs is one of the greatest who's ever played the game. I think that'd be a hell of a match. So those are my 3 things I'd like to. I don't know that we'll get Bibiani Zip in 2019, but if there was any way, I'd like to see that. So
I kind of want to see it now too. It's one of those matches where I didn't really think about it, but now that I've heard it, I kind of want to see it happen.
It'd be interesting, right? Or Oyama Zip versus Bibiani and the Kid. I mean, that's not bad either. I think that'd be a hell of a match.
Yes, it would. Okay. Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh my God. Oh. Yep. I want this match now.
I think we got to put that one on our radar, right?
Absolutely.
Harloff, make it happen.
There you go. I have zero pull with that guy, so you're on your own.
We've demanded crazier things. But yeah, so with that, Kaiser, I cannot thank you more than enough for your time, man, and thank you for being awesome enough to come on the show. We greatly appreciate it. And with that, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Who Cares Anyway podcast. We sincerely hope that you enjoyed this conversation with Kaiser, and please.
And if you don't enjoy it, I'm waiting outside of your house with a ball peen hammer and some snowballs.
Damn right. Yes. But please, Kaiser, tell the good folks where they can find you online.
Well, you need to find your asses in New York City and watch Paul Ayama beat one of these three chumps. But other than that, at Kaiser Says So on the Twitter.
All right.
That's it. I'm not promoting anything else.
Sounds good. Nico, where can the good folks find you online?
Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, at Nico Suave or Goalie, or just Nico Suave with 4 random meaningless numbers thrown in at the end on Discord, Instagram, and Snapchat. Still coming soon, but not officially there yet.
You can find me at the Wingstop on 43rd Street for breakfast if you're looking to track me down.
Sounds like a plan. I don't know why a wing place would be serving in the morning, but it sounds like a plan.
I got pull there, not with Harloff, but I got pull at the wing joint.
Combat Wrestling Trivia on Facebook, Combat Wrestling Network on YouTube. The poorly made Twitter handle is at Combat Wrestling, the number 2. There's no letter G. Rolling Crits on YouTube, at Rolling Crits on Instagram. And yeah, also in New York for the Schmoedown live event on Saturday night. As well as you're probably seeing me right now at Mark Ellis's stand-up event at the time this is streaming.
Talented guy, that Mark Ellis.
He certainly is. And you guys will also probably be seeing me at that Mark Ellis event. But if you want to come find me anywhere else, you can always find me on Twitter, Instagram, Stardust, Letterboxd, and Discord at Skywalker Doman. You guys can follow this very channel on Twitter and Instagram at D23 Channel. Please like our Facebook page. And as Case and I announced at the top of the show, Facebook group, join it. We are launching on Sunday, September 1st. Be there. Don't be square. And honestly, everybody, come on in. We can do a little cross-promotion. We can all work with each other to build this community to be even better than it already is. And speaking of community and the fan leagues, Dollface, I'm a-coming for you. Because guess what, honey? I have to dive into the pits of hell to win this damn title. And I'm going to win this damn title. And I have to get through you first. And you and your little house of horrors are not stopping me, sweetheart. But until then, guys, you all know what to do. Take care.
Real quick. When can I expect the check for this thing?
It's in the mail.
God bless.